should mention, Ilhan Omar thinks President Trump is somehow causing her to have PTSD.
I feel ill a little bit because of everything that is taking place, and I think every time I hear about of conversations around war, I find myself being stricken with PTSD.
Really? Because you know what, PTSD is an emotional depressive disorder that so many members of our military actually really do struggle with. And while we're talking about Ilhan Omar, I should just also mention this, right? She wants to sanction Israel, our longtime historic ally, yet when Israel's sanctions, or rather, our sanctions are heading for Iran, she somehow thinks it's all economic warfare, which just makes you wonder right now. Whose side is she on? Whose side is the left on? Because I'll tell you, surely sometimes it feels like they're on Iran's side. It would be helpful if everyone in Washington, D.C. would stand for the United States of America right now and be on America's side. That's tonight's Intel. Joining me right now, House Armed Services Committee member, Indiana Congressman Jim Banks, who took quite an issue with Ilhan Omar and her PTSD comments. Congressman, it's good to see you tonight.
With you.
Your thoughts on the Democrats' behavior, including this woman giggling there up on stage.
Trish, it makes my blood boil when I hear the words come out of Ilhan Omar's mouth. Her behavior at this press conference is disrespectful to our men and women around the globe who wear the uniform and serve to protect us. Yet her juvenile behavior and her pure hatred of President Trump is disgraceful to me. That's why I tweeted last night that Ilhan Omar is disrespectful of our troops, and she should apologize for this behavior. Instead, she lashed out even further and doubled down and played victim rather than recognizing that's right. She played victim rather than recognizing that her behavior is absolutely disgraceful and unbecoming of a member of Congress.
But isn't that par for the course, right? I mean, you see it over and over again on the left. They're always playing the darn victim card. I mean, one of the things that I think this president has done extremely well is he's helped lift people's spirits up. He's helped them realize that America doesn't need to be the victim. In other words, we can chart our own future, our own destiny. And when you think about what's happening with Iran, us going out and just taking out one of the really bad guys in the world that is responsible for so much heinous death, murdering, 600 Americans, sir. And, it's somewhat empowering. Right? And that's what I don't think the left understands.
Ilhan Omar says she hates war. She saw it as a child. She should be thanking President Trump for keeping us out of war with Iran. Instead, her pure hatred of him led her and Pelosi and others to pass a motion on the floor to tie this president's hands from keeping our troops safe abroad, especially in the midst of the threat from the Iranian regime, who last week killed an American contractor and harmed American troops, who we know wants to attack more Americans in the region. She wants to tie the president's hands from keeping our troops safe rather than thank him for what he's done to keep us out of war.
Congressman, I'm going to jump in right now because our president is speaking in Ohio and he's got a lot of things to say on the economy. Let's listen in.
The percentage increase makes me happy are for blue-collar workers. 40 million, think of this. 40 million American families are now benefiting from the Republican child tax credit, each receiving an average of over $2,200 a year. Now, America lost. This is hard to believe, because if you think, how could it possibly be true? But this is what happened. Probably it's the number one reason I'm running. America lost 60,000 factories under the previous administration. 60,000. You wouldn't believe that's possible, but I know it's true because I've said it 50 times. And the fakers back there, they've never corrected me. No, it's true. No, it's true. If I was slightly off, if I was off by 2 factories, there'd be a headline, Donald Trump told a fib. Donald Trump gets to be a Pinocchio again. No, think of it. 60,000 factories, plants and factories closed. They went to Mexico. They went to China. The 60,000, it's not even, take a look at a map and put 60,000 little tacks. I mean, you wouldn't believe it could be that many, but it is. It's 60,000 closed, gone. They're all coming back. They're all coming back. And right now, just in a very short period of time, we've added 12,000 brand new factories, and many more are coming in. And one of the reasons they're coming in is we've eliminated a record number of job-killing regulations, saving the average American household $3,000 a year, and total income gains for median households will reach over, ready, $10,000 a family. $10,000. Now, under the Bush administration, the $10,000, that includes what we've done in terms of medium income. I'm adding in there the tax cuts, which are tremendous, $2,400. And I'm adding regulation cuts. I'm adding the whole package, over $10,000. Now, under President Bush, it was $450. Under Barack Hussein Obama, it was $975. Under President Donald J. Trump, it's $10,000 in 3 years. 2 years. Right? In 3 years. Don't forget, President Bush, 8 years. $450.
Drop for keeping all the green students alive.
President
The energy
Obama,
drop is a permanent
8
stat
years.
booster that increases a unit's strength stat by +2.
$975.
Thankfully, this pilot's been doing
President
pretty darn
Trump,
well on strength.
No,
3
nothing just
years.
happened.
Not even. Not even. Not even. But 3 years, $10,000. And we're going up. We're going up. We ended the last administration's war on American energy, and we ended the war on clean, beautiful coal. It's being shipped to Vietnam. It's being shipped all over the world. While every Democrat running for president wants to shut down our coal mines, we are putting our miners back to work. Dig we must. Dig we must. Clean coal. What they do with coal today is incredible. Clean coal. And with the help of energy workers right here in Ohio, the United States is now the #1 producer of oil and natural gas anywhere in the world by far. #1. We weren't #1. Every top Democrat candidate has pledged to eliminate American production of oil and natural gas. How does that work, by the way? You know, there's a state known as Texas. And I won Texas by a lot, just like I won Ohio by a lot. How would you like to go into Texas and say, by the way, we don't want your oil or natural gas anymore? How about Beto? Remember he said, I was born to be president. Anybody that says that, I said, that's the end of his career. Remember he had the cover of the magazine, I won't mention the magazine, Sleazebag magazine. He was born to be president, and right after that, he came tumbling down. But he's from Texas, so he was against religion, he was against oil, and he was against guns. Abraham Lincoln could not win in Texas with that platform. That's not a good platform. It's not a good platform, but you have people that want to shut down the oil industry. And if you do that, you're going to shut down half of your businesses, really more than that. And the rest of them are not going to be able to pay because the cost of this energy would be so expensive. So we have all forms of energy. We have every form of energy, and we are doing great. But they want to cripple your state's economy. But the voters of Ohio will never let that happen. Never going to let it happen. And our air And our water right now is cleaner than it's been in 40 years. And sadly, I can't say historic because, you know, a couple of hundred years ago, there was nobody here, right? So I assume that 200-300 years ago it was cleaner, probably. You never know. But our water and our air is as clean as it's ever been. And I took us out of that horrible Paris Accord. I always say, how you doing with the Paris Accord? Don't ask. Saved trillions and trillions of dollars. That was put in there to hurt us, in my opinion. It was put in there to hurt us. We were paying money to India. We were paying money to China. China's didn't kick in until 2030. We kicked in immediately. We had to pay money. Russia kicked in let's see, they kicked in before. They were 1998. They were 1996. That was a very dirty period of air. So they didn't have. We kick in now, and it's just unacceptable. We would have spent trillions and trillions of dollars. We would have had to close up, I think, at least 25 to 30% of our businesses. Who the hell would make a deal like that, right? Who would make a deal like that? No, how unfair. You look at Russia, you look at China, you look at India, they all got these massive breaks. We got no breaks, and we're paying money. And I say sometimes to France, how are the yellow vests working out? Because they don't like raising their taxes and sending the money to faraway places that they never heard of. So we are in good shape. It took a certain amount of courage to do that. I said, I'm going to get killed on this one. And you know what? I did it, and I was applauded, because the people get it. The people know what we're doing, and they're tired of being ripped off by the rest of the world. They're tired of being ripped off by the rest of the world. For decades, career politicians promised to defend the workers of Ohio. And then they went to Washington and voted for the same globalist policies that devastated your communities and shipped away your jobs. You know that better than anybody. Ohio knows that. But the betrayal of Ohio workers and U.S. workers ended the day I took the oath of office. And you see that because you're setting records. I immediately canceled the Obama administration's job-killing catastrophe, which would have dealt a death blow to the United States auto industry, the Trans-Pacific Partnership. It was a disaster. That was going to be worse than NAFTA. NAFTA, I always say the worst deal. I think that would have been worse. It would have taken the car industry. It would have taken many of your industries. That was a setup for the United States to get fleeced. The USMCA will save the American auto industry and create over 100,000 new auto jobs, and our factories will not be closing and moving to other faraway lands. We'll keep them right here if that's okay. And that's going to include, because we take care of our great auto workers of Toledo, the home of Jeep. How good is Jeep? And I've taken the toughest ever action against China's chronic trade abuses, including tariffs on $370 billion worth of Chinese-made goods, bringing billions and billions of dollars into our treasury. And I gave some of that money because they were targeted to our farmers, and our farmers did just fine. And now the deal is done, and the other deals are done, and the farmers are doing very well. We love our farmers. And they never complained. They never complained. You know, when they'd go, the fake news back there, they'd go and they'd talk to the farmers. What do you think of President Trump? China is deciding not to buy anymore. And this, he said, you know what the farmers would say? We're going to have to suffer for a while, because China and these other nations have been ripping us off for years. The president is right, and we're with the president. How great are they? How great are they? But our strong action paid off, and we'll sign that terrific and fully enforceable Phase 1 trade deal with China. And again, we're keeping the tariffs on, because we'll use that for another one. We are taking billions. Remember what I said? We're not paying for it, because China devalued their currency, and they put a lot of money into the pot. We're not paying for it. And now they're starting to say, I guess he was right. And our trade deficit, as a result, has really come substantially down. It was just in the papers today. The trade deficit has come down. As a result of our actions, steel mills all across Ohio, you know this better than I do, are roaring back to life. JSW Steel is investing $500 million in Mingo Junction. Republic Steel is reopening the Lorraine mill that they idled in 2016. Charter Steel is building a $150 million mill in Cuyahoga Heights, and Nucor is investing $85 million at a facility in Marion, Ohio. Think of that. Think of that. The steel industry was dead, and now it's vibrant. All told, American steel companies are currently making $13 billion worth of new investments all across our nation. Think of that. They weren't investing 10 cents. The industry was dead. Now it's vibrant. After years of rebuilding other nations, we are finally rebuilding our nation. We are finally putting America first. But while we are creating jobs and killing terrorists, the Washington Democrats are wasting America's time with demented hoaxes and crazy witch hunts. Think of it. From the day I came down that escalator, it started. Who the hell else could have taken this stuff, right? Do I get some credit for that? Most guys would have been in a corner with their thumb in their mouth saying, Mommy, Mommy, take me home. These are bad people. The Democrat politicians we're fighting today are the same ones who took a sledgehammer to Ohio jobs and factories. They destroyed your factories, they destroyed your jobs. But they're losing and we're winning, and America's comeback continues full speed ahead. On no issue have Democrat politicians more thoroughly betrayed the American people than the issue of illegal immigration. Far-left radical politicians support deadly sanctuary cities, demonstrating their contempt, scorn, and disdain for everyday Americans and the American family. These jurisdictions release dangerous, violent criminal aliens out of their jails and directly onto your streets, where they are free to rob, attack, and kill American citizens. But we stop it. They want open borders, can you believe it? And because of Democrats' open border policies, they want open borders. They want people flowing. Come on in. Come on in. Innocent Americans are being brutalized and murdered by illegal alien criminals. As just one example, right here in Ohio, you all know about it. An illegal alien went on a deadly crime spree, attempting to rape a 14-year-old girl, then raping and murdering a 60-year-old woman, then shooting another woman who took a shortcut through the park and was walking with her children. And finally, the police came. We love our police. And they were able to apprehend this terrible criminal. Thanks to Democrat policies, MS-13 gang members, they're the worst, were allowed to infiltrate the country. You know, I called them animals, and Nancy Pelosi said, they're not animals, they're human beings. Take a look at what's happening to her district. Her district is one of the most disgusting, dirtiest. It used to be one of the best in the country. Now it's a disgrace what's happened. Drug needles all over the place, the homeless that they're not taking care of, tents down major thoroughfares. What happened to San Francisco, and in particular, her district, as she lives in this beautiful